Christmas is upon us, ladies and gentlemen, and Killing Floor 2 has released a new update to get us into the festive spirit. Let's see what they've been cooking for us. Hello everyone, this is Andrew from ADAMO Gaming, and a happy holidays from me to you on this cold month of December. Hopefully your PCs are keeping you warm with all the new games that have released recently, but in today's video, I wanted to talk about an underrated game. 2016's Killing Floor 2 has given us our 5th consecutive Christmas update, Chop Till You Drop, that released on December 9th of this year. I've had the chance to play through the event over the weekend and I'll be giving my honest opinion of it. Let's jump right into...
This is not okay. This needs to stop now.
Yeah, he's right, you know. I can't be doing a Christmas video with an outfit like that. Embarrassing. Ha! Let me change real quick. There we go. See, I've got the Christmas sweater to keep myself warm, as well as the Santa hat to prevent any brain freeze. I had to improvise the others though, got the Scrake mask to contain my excitement, and a time backpack so my teammates could keep track of the countdown towards Christmas. Don't know what that is on my knees, but everybody just calls them skis so we can get a little snow breeze on this cold December without cheese.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I couldn't think of anything else to rhyme it with, but anyway, let's get on with the video. Kicking it off with the time-limited event, Killing Floor 2 will traditionally give you 5 unique challenges to complete. Like every other seasonal update, they've always been pretty straightforward. I haven't had too much trouble so far, but what I like about some of them is that they always encourage you to use a variety of perks throughout the event. Like the first challenge, Heads on Sale, where you have to get 1000 headshots. This is a perfect challenge for perks like Sharpshooter and Gunslinger if you want to speed up the process, but you can still use other perks as long as you're hitting your headshots, which also gives some players some flexibility as this challenge can be done on any map too, so everything stacks up as you play regardless. The other 4 challenges, however, are solely focused on the new map, Carol on Hamlet. Now for those of you who don't know, the developers at Killing Floor 2 are now using community-inspired maps for their events, meaning that they've been created by other players using a software development kit. The map is supposed to be a medium-sized industrial village with a train station, chapel, factory and underground tunnels. Well, at least that's what the creator had in mind, as you can see from the photos. The developers obviously made some tweaks and changes to suit the event in question, and as it's Christmas, they added some candy cane lights, wreaths, presents and other decorations, which is nice. But in my opinion, it's quite hard to notice these aspects. Besides the fact that you'll be killing Zeds and won't have time to pay attention, this area as a Christmas map looks pretty lackluster if you ask me, which makes it seem like a last-minute rushed makeover. Like if someone was to show this to me first time, I wouldn't think Christmas straight away, because the decorations aren't that consistent all over the map. They seem to be concentrated inside specific buildings and on the main street, whereas the rest of the area is a bit neglected in my opinion. And I also feel this way given the fact that there is no snow or Christmas themed objectives, which makes older maps like Santa's Workshop look and feel much more enjoyable.
You made it! Now let's see what's under the tree for you!
But overall, the developers could have spent a bit more time on this, but it is a community map after all. The original creator didn't make it for this reason, so I wouldn't expect them to be able to fully transform it into a Christmas map. But anyways, moving on to the rest of the event, there's the Black Weekly where you have to complete the weekly challenge on this new map. Luckily I got Tiny Terror at the time, which is essentially where the enemies get smaller as they take damage, so it's pretty easy and fun with players. However, more players means more Zeds, so it can be a bit chaotic considering the map's only safe and open area is the road next to the train station. Everywhere else seems to be a bit small and cramped, and going off on your own means death. So unless you're playing solo, I wouldn't expect your teammates to divert too far away from this main street here. Or if you do get overrun, you may head back into the train station, but that's the limit. And even though I said the main street is the safest area, you want to avoid fighting further down the road since there's a lot of objects like concrete blocks which can easily get you stuck. Myself and the team I was playing with got a bit careless on the final boss, and it's fair to say I got lucky here. But yeah, it's something to look out for when playing this map on harder difficulties. The challenges Filthy Rich and Non-Stop Splurge can be done together. I initially tried to do these separately and realised my dosh was accumulating very slowly on the regular survival game mode, and it was getting very boring considering you have to do this on the same map. However, if you change to Endless, you get much more dosh after every couple of waves, which makes the Filthy Rich challenge go by a lot quicker. 75,000 does look a bit daunting at first, but the Endless difficulty kinda saved me some hassle here, so you can essentially get a 2-for-1 on the challenges by beating 15 waves on Endless and getting 75k alongside it. The only problem I do have is that I felt like the developers were forcing this new map down our throats, since 90% of the challenges are dedicated to it. Now whilst I do understand that it's a new Christmas map and they're trying to utilise it as much as they can, it goes back to what I said before about the Santa's Workshop map. The mini tasks you had to complete, like pulling candy cane levers or protecting Santa's sleigh, were great additions, but since Camelon Hamlet doesn't have any of that, it just feels like a chore to play over and over again. Now onto the last challenge, painful payments. I would admit I was going to rant about how jarring this challenge was. I had a whole paragraph ready and everything. But it's not as bad as it seems. All you have to do is purchase 20 weapons worth 1500 dosh on Camelon Hamlet. It sounds long, but it's very exploitable, in the sense that you can literally just buy and resell the same tier 5 weapon until you unlock it. Keeping in mind your weapon sells for cheaper compared to the original price, so you'll eventually run out of money, but it's very much doable in maybe 2 or 3 games. Or you could just run it on Endless and complete this as well as the other 2 challenges together, to be even more efficient. In my defense, I haven't played this game in ages, so I completely forgot you could resell weapons, which is why I thought this was going to take a while. But I still would have liked to have this challenge spread across other maps. I know I keep saying this, but it's just to promote casual play, without having to reload the same game if you ran out of money, or having to leave a public match because your teammates voted for something else. For me personally, playing solo and Endless gets a bit stale, especially if you're on the same map, which is why I'm advocating for some diversity, or at least for them to incorporate other Christmas maps so it's more entertaining. But yeah, looking at the challenges as a whole, they're not bad, relatively simple to complete. If you just want to get it done with no issues, playing solo is a good idea, and you probably have it all done in just under 2 hours. Killing Floor 2's events have always been quite short, and you never really have to dedicate dozens of hours to it, since it's not an event like Call of Duty where you have a whole season of 100 items to unlock, which I think is due to the reward you get for beating this event that I'll get into now. While playing through these events, you'll get your seasonal Krampus tickets and gold tickets, which are used for unlocking extremely rare cosmetic items. These are Christmas themed, by the way. The gold tickets are quite rare, as I don't think I've ever unlocked one in my 400 hours of game time. If I have, I wouldn't remember. However, the main prize for beating all 5 challenges is a cosmetic reward of precious rarity, or legendary rarity. This is the Shopping Companion. It's supposed to be a backpack according to the game, since that's the category it belongs to, but because it has a face and some robotic arms, I'm not so sure. It seems like a mix of Karen from SpongeBob and Doc Ock's tentacles from Spider-Man. Unfortunately, the only animation it has is the facial expressions, which is cool, but it would have been even better to see the arms move or at least have the bot talk to you, because even though the challenges aren't that difficult, Cosmetic Rewards are underwhelming, and I think most players are encouraged to unlock it because you can't get it anywhere else, not because they actually want the reward. A new weapon would have been a more entertaining choice, and I'd appreciate working towards something like that with more challenges so we can play it through the holidays for like 2 weeks or so, rather than just playing over the weekend and calling it quits. But for the past couple of years, cosmetics have always been the reward for beating these challenges, so I don't think the developers plan on changing it to actual weapons anytime soon. This is just how it's always been, which is unfortunate because in the past 2 years, the player base has dropped significantly. I think in 2019 we had around 25,000 players during the summer update, but now we're hovering around 3,000 to 4,000 players in 2021, which says a lot about how good these updates actually are. Speaking of weapons though, Killing Floor 2 has provided us with 2 new weapons for this update, the first and most definitely the superior one being the HRG Stunner. This is a free weapon for all players and is used in the SWAT category. SWAT perk uses SMGs, and whilst this gun has the exact same model as the AA-12, you'd think it belongs to the support perk since they specialise in shotguns. However, this isn't the case because of its secondary or alternate fire mode. Its primary fire shoots slug rounds, but the alternate fire mode consumes multiple rounds of ammunition to fire off a flashbang that explodes and stuns enemies. On higher difficulties, this is great for crowd control and keeping more dangerous enemies at bay, like flesh pounds and scrigs. And it also gives the SWAT some more flexibility, considering it only had 5 flashbangs to support the team. So essentially, this weapon provides you with traditional flashbang and stun capability, in the event you or other players get overwhelmed. It does take a couple of shots to actually stun enemies though, so it's definitely a weaker version of the original flashbang. And you'd have to keep an eye on your ammo since it drains pretty quickly using this secondary fire. But overall, I like it. It's a great addition to give the SWAT perk some added survivability, which makes it a preferred class for higher difficulties. The other weapon is the Doshin gun, a weapon designed for the survivalist perk and is not free. You have to pay for this in the store or you can join a public server. Other players who purchase the weapon will be able to share it with you, which is what I did. I'm gonna be honest, it's not a gun worth paying for. Essentially, it shoots dosh, or in other words money, and it uses the money you've earned during the game as its ammunition, which makes it a meme gun. And that means that other players can pick your money off the ground, so it's something to be wary of and better suited for solo play if you don't want to get robbed. It's a tier 2 weapon, and its damage and fire rate is pretty mediocre, so I wouldn't recommend using this on higher difficulties. But according to the wiki, it does have some stun and stumble power which can throw some Zeds off. If you're actually looking for an effective weapon, don't purchase this, guys. It's quite trash, so I wouldn't waste your time or money on this. If you want it for the memes, go right ahead. It's not that expensive, but considering how bad it is, it should honestly be free. The HRG stunner is definitely more useful, so I'm surprised they didn't make that the paid weapon for this update. Lastly, there's been some new game modes and balancing changes, but I won't go through them all, just the essentials really. 2 new game modes, or outbreaks I should say, are Shrunken Heads and Boss Rush. Apologies, but I don't have any gameplay to show since they haven't come up in the weekly rotation as of yet, but I'll briefly explain what they are. Shrunken Heads is an interesting one. All Zeds have tiny heads and take no damage on headshots. Instead, they have new weak points on the rest of their bodies, like arms, legs, chest, etc. So it's definitely something new and will be quite a challenge if you're already accustomed to hitting headshots through muscle memory. The other mode, Boss Rush, is where every wave is a boss encounter and gets progressively difficult as you complete them. Bosses will get more health, shield health, move faster and do more damage, which explains why there were significant improvements made to the King Flesh Pound and Abomination. I think both of these bosses have been considered the easiest of them all, so these buffs were to be expected really. The King Flesh Pound is definitely a lot more aggressive in this update, and he's been giving me some problems considering that he is now 10% faster and does a lot more damage on his beam and ground pound attacks. The Abomination has gotten a lot faster too. He produces those nasty Z spawns at a much quicker rate, but they are supposedly weaker. He also has increased vomiting range, bloat mine projectile speed, and they've increased the rate at which he farts. Now, I'm not even joking, I cannot believe what I'm reading. Sorry, I'm being childish, but yeah, you get the idea. This is probably the most disgusting boss to talk about, so we'll leave it at that.
Do you smell it? That smell. The kind of smelly smell. The smelly smell that smells smelly.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for this Christmas update. I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting much because these are the typical layouts for every update. It's something to come back to if you missed the game or haven't played for a while. I don't play it consistently, so I always find some entertainment in these regardless of how repetitive they are. The rewards could be a little bit more exciting, but Killing Floor 2 doesn't seem to have the budget for wide-scale updates anymore, considering the fact that the player base has dropped and they've been recycling weapon models instead of making completely new designs. Maybe it's time for Killing Floor 3, I don't know. Some people want it to be the last update, and I don't blame them because they can't keep this up forever. But I enjoy this game a lot and I'd hate for them to go out sad, so hopefully they drop something different in the coming months that will help regain its popularity again. It's on a discount to the 22nd of December for £5, so if you haven't played it and want to give it a shot, I'd say now's a good time because there is so much new content that's been added since its release. This offer may be gone by the time you see this video, but don't worry, the game is always on sale regardless, so I'm pretty sure you'll catch a good deal at some point. But anyway, it's been Andrew from ADAMO Gaming. Drop a like and subscribe if you want to see more from our community. Have a great Christmas and a Happy New Year.